been on quiet, no music yet, only the tick of a clock and a room that feels slightly too small. It's the kind of silence where your thoughts get loud, where you can't distract your way out of what you already know. This is where comebacks actually start, not online, not in big announcements, not in speeches. A comeback begins with a private confession. The path you're on is taking you somewhere you don't want to arrive. You don't need a new wind. The same wind hits everyone. Economy, politics, chaos, mood, luck. What changes the destination is the sail and the hand that finally decides to grab it. Some people learn that early, raised in ordinary places with ordinary money and ordinary pressure. Others learn it later, grown, tired, and embarrassed by the promises they can't keep. That tired feeling matters. It isn't weakness, it's information. Most people treat discomfort like an enemy, so they numb it, scroll it away, postpone it. But discomfort is often the first honest signal that your life is misaligned. It's the alarm you keep trying to silence. Change isn't triggered by information alone. Change is triggered by emotion, sharp enough to overpower your old routines. Today is about 4 emotions that do that in order: disgust, decision, desire, resolve. And then one master word that turns all of it into reality: work. First, disgust. Disgust isn't a mood, it's a revolt. It's the moment you say, "I've had it," and you mean it, not as a slogan, as a line you can't step back over. People call disgust negative, but strategically, disgust is fuel because it ends negotiations with your old self. Disgust is the day the mask slips. You see the pattern clearly, and you can't unsee it. Picture a man in a grocery aisle watching his wife compare 2 cans of beans, 37 cents versus 39, not because she cares which tastes better, because they have to save pennies. He feels a knot tighten in his stomach. Not anger at her, anger at the life they've been reduced to. That knot becomes a sentence. We are not living like this anymore. Or picture a smaller moment that cuts deeper. A kid knocks on the door selling cookies and you want to help, but you don't even have $2. So you lie, not because you're cruel, because you're ashamed. And when the door closes, you feel sick, not at the kid, at what survival is turning you into. That sickness is disgust. It's an internal rejection of the identity you've been wearing. Disgust creates what comfort never can, friction. And friction creates movement. So you write your own disgust declarations, clean, simple, personal. I'm done with this version of me. I'm done repeating the same embarrassing outcomes. I'm done hunting for pennies in the dust. I'm done lying to protect my ego. Disgust draws a line. And once you draw that line, you can't stay in the middle anymore. The next emotion arrives. Decision feels like an inner civil war. Your future pulls forward. Your habits pull backward. Indecision is not neutral. Indecision is decay. It's mental paralysis that quietly steals years. It doesn't scream. It just drains your life one delayed week at a time. The mind has a cruel trick. It makes decisions feel risky while pretending delay is safe. But life is risky either way. The moment you were born, risk was included. If you think trying is risky, wait until you pay the bill for not trying. That bill shows up as missed chances, strained relationships, and a health you can't buy back. It shows up as regret you can't refund. Decision is the antidote, not perfect decision, real decision. You close the open tabs in your mind, the unresolved conversations, the postponed moves, the half promises you replay at 3 a.m. Make the call, send the message, pick the direction. The strange thing is, the decision is often harder than the work, but once it lands, the paralysis lifts. The path becomes visible again. Now you've ended the old way and chosen a direction, but you still need a force that pulls you forward. Because pushing away from pain isn't enough forever, so the third emotion arrives. Desire is a sleeping giant. It doesn't wake up when you complain. It wakes up when you see something vivid enough to want. Sometimes it wakes up through a book, sometimes through a song. Sometimes through a conversation that hits you in the chest and says, "You're capable of more than this." Desire turns vague hope into a target, and targets change behavior. Most people speak in fog. I want more money. I want to travel. I want to be successful. But the mind can't chase fog. It needs shape. So you upgrade the language, not someday, by a date. Not more, a number, not nicer, a picture you can describe. I earn $10,000 a month by December 31st. I stand inside the Palace of Versailles this May. I live in a 4-bedroom house with a red door on the hill. Specifics don't just inspire you, they instruct you. Plan like a cynical adult. Details, steps, contingencies. Believe like a child, fully, stubbornly, without embarrassment. That belief isn't delusion, it's a psychological lever. It makes you act like the goal is real, which changes how you behave today. But desire can still fade, because life hits back. And the old world doesn't clap when you decide to evolve. That's why you need the 4th emotion, the one that doesn't negotiate. Resolve is iron in the blood. Resolve is when you stop saying "I hope" and you start saying "I will." Resolve is a climber staring at a mountain and declaring, "I will climb it." Too high, too rocky, too difficult, and I will climb it anyway. Not because it's easy, because it's mine to do. Resolve removes exit doors. It replaces dabbling with commitment. A kid once said it perfectly. Resolve is promising yourself you will never give up. And you already understand that because you've watched a baby learn to walk. How many falls before the baby quits? None. The baby keeps going until it happens. That word, until, is the formula. It's not try, it's until. And when resolve becomes real, the world reacts in a strange way, not magically, mechanically. You stop asking permission, you stop debating with fear, you stop waiting to feel ready. Now connect the chain. Disgust ends the old way. Decision chooses the direction. Desire pulls you forward with clarity. Resolve makes it non-negotiable. But none of it changes your life until it becomes physical, until it becomes actions you can count. So here is the master word. Work is the translation layer. Work turns emotion into evidence. This is where most people fail. They want a new life with old effort. They want results without repetitions. But the math is ruthless. If you're going to make calls, make a few thousand. If you're going to practice, practice until the skill is yours. Massive action is not aesthetic. It's not glamorous. It's stacking boring wins until your identity changes. And yes, it may require early mornings. The sacred silence before the world starts demanding pieces of you. Early rising isn't moral, it's tactical. It gives you focus because nobody is interrupting you yet. It gives you clarity because you take the day before the day takes you. It gives you discipline because winning the first struggle strengthens the muscle for bigger ones. And because stress often begins as money stress, you need a simple system, not a fantasy, a formula. Live on 70%. Give 10% to build character and perspective. Invest 10% actively, skills, tools, opportunities that can produce profit. Invest 10% passively, so money can earn while you sleep. Wages make a living, profits build a future. This isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming capable, so your life stops shrinking from fear. Imagine someone dies with a dream still locked in a drawer, a fishing line on a stick, a relic from a childhood that once felt alive. Decades spent climbing a ladder they didn't design, decades spent killing time, until time finally collects the debt. That's the tragedy of the unlived life. Not pain, not failure, just postponement. So you don't wait for perfect conditions. You don't wait for a better wind. You choose now. Because now is the only time you will ever own. And you run 4 questions like a blade across your excuses. Why? Why do the work? Why learn? Why push? Why not? What else are you going to do with your one life? Why not you? You have the brain, the stamina, the spark. Why not now? Why delay the version of you already know is possible? This has been your minute for change. Your comeback began the moment you listened, then decided not to drift anymore. Now, set the sail and move.